So it'd be cool.
Good.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. For the people that haven't been around since day dot, I knew zero about AI until I started taking Tim's classes. So everything I've learnt has been in the last, how long have we been doing this, Tim? 6 months?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not even. So look, I just a bit about me quickly. I engineer. I've got 2 businesses that I run. One's industrial design, so designing conveyors and crushing equipment for mine sites. And just recently, I started up a second AI business to implement AI into small businesses. So, particularly the second one would not have been able to do without these courses. So, yeah, I truly owe a lot to Tim and letting me do this. So, thank you. All right. So, what I'm going to do today is, I know Tim's focused a lot previously on Claude Code and how we can use Claude Code to do some extremely powerful things. Today, what I'm going to more focus on is actually the chat side of Claude. So a lot of people just use Claude straight out of the box and just ask it questions and they get an answer. Claude Chat can actually do a lot more than just be a chatbot. You can absolutely connect it into other pieces of software, other data sources, and then you can start using it effectively as a 2IC or an assistant. The beauty of Claude Chat to do these things, because Claude Code can certainly do a lot of this, the beauty of Claude Chat doing this is that it's completely accessible wherever you go. Claude Code is run locally on your own machine. Claude Chat is actually run on Anthropic servers in the cloud. So I have a laptop in my office, I have a PC at home, I have a computer in a client's office, I have Claude on my tablet, and I've got Claude on my phone. Now, all of those logged into the same account. If I try to do anything on Claude Code, you can't access that from any of those other devices. When you start doing things with Claude Chat, it doesn't matter whether you're on the tablet, your iPhone, whichever device, all that context and history comes with you. And so the things I'm about to show you, while you can do on your PC, it also means you can also do on your phone while you're in the car. If you've got like Android CarPlay, you can absolutely do a lot of these things using voice only in the car. So hopefully if there's any tradies online, we can start talking about how you can get stuff done while sitting in traffic. I know, Bruce, you could do stuff while sitting on your tractor.
Yeah.
I've actually done one specifically for you a little bit later to show you a couple of things that we can specifically for farm equipment. So anyway, without too much more, let me try and share screen. We've done this in Google before, so which button do I need to do, Tim?
It's that little like laptop with the up arrow down the bottom.
Share screen. Cool. It should be that one. Woohoo! Everyone can see it?
No.
Yeah, there it comes.
Certainly. Yep.
Rattling in the pipe.
Yeah.
Got it now?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Sensational. All right. So really what I want to show, a couple of things. Firstly, recently, the desktop app that I'm using at the moment is they've integrated the chat and the co-work. So originally there used to be chat, co-work and code across the top. They've now kind of rolled chat and co-work in together. So one trick for young players is it defaults most of the times to co-work. And then once again, co-work is run locally. It's not accessible from other devices. So make sure when you're doing your chat stuff, make sure you actually do click this on the chat. That was my first thing that I want to just flag up. So down here underneath settings, now once again, what I'm showing you is using the Windows app. It'll be exactly the same for if you've got the app installed on your Mac or iPad, and also be the same as if it's on your phone. I do recommend like trying to do a lot of setup work. It's a bit easier on your PC, but then you get the ability to use the functionality on your phone when you're out and about. So all the setup stuff I'll show you, I can talk to Tim about how to get it to everyone so that you don't have to try and copy and paste or screen or like pause the video later on. So first thing I want to just run through underneath settings. You're getting some really bad feedback. The first thing I want to put underneath settings is there's this spot here called instructions for Claude. Now, what that allows you to do is tailor the way you want Claude to answer questions. So what I want to show is if I just start a new chat, and then I'm going to have something like, what would be a good question? Something like, I would like to replace my entire service team with AI, custom service team with AI. So it'll go through and it'll give you a very generic answer. It'll be, this is effectively Claude out of the box. I've turned off everything so that it tries to replicate effectively a clean install, and you'll get a long-winded answer that which won't actually have any sort of substance to it. Now, I'm just going to let that run in the background. You can then actually start another chat. But what I'll do is I will go into those settings, and in here, I will cut and paste my exact settings that I use. Now, these settings have taken me a little while to get to, but it's sort of been a bit of an ongoing find. So what I'll show here is at the start, be direct and honest. I'll ask for detailed explanations when I require it. So what happens is Claude uses a lot of tokens, explain lots of stuff. So I'm like, I'll only ask for clarification if you want it. So it'll actually make your answers a bit shorter for you. Challenge assumptions. So when I float ideas past it, I want it to actually challenge me, just not be a yes man. This is one I find really good, is I always get it to rate my ideas out of 10. So it'll then go bad idea 2, great idea 8, etc. I want it to tell me when I'm wrong. I don't want it to just be a yes man. If it's uncertain, I want it to tell me it's uncertain. And then the other things that I've got here is, I'll just put Andrew there. I see the way Tim uses Claude, and particularly when he uses Claude Code, he just basically punches in and off he goes. What I do when I start using Claude Code is I actually generate my ideas, and I actually get Claude Chat to write my Claude Code, my Claude MD file, and also the prompt. And by doing that, I find I actually get a more rounded answer, less windows and less rework with the things I need done. So I've got this little bit here that says specific instructions to add to any of my Claude code of my Claude MD files. So I'll let people just read this through quickly, but effectively I want it to think about it before coding it, make it simple. If there's 2 ways of doing it, make sure you pick the easiest way. Like I say, if you need write 50 lines when you could use 200, only make surgical changes. So if I ask it to change something, change the thing I'm asking to change. Don't go through and rechange the entire thing. And then if I want it to go through and actually check itself. And so go, all right, I've done this thing. Actually, is this what Randall asked for? Yes, it is. No, it's not. And basically it does its own little loop and then goes through and does what I need. So if I do that, hit save changes. So that's now saved into the profile. If I open that on my phone or my tablet, those exact same instructions would also be in there. So now, if I go back to my original chat, I've got this Claude answer.
That's Claude chat.
This is all Claude chat. Yep. Well, like I said, that second half was only for when I get Claude chat to write my Claude MD files for when I'm using Claude Code.
Yep.
So now, if I start a new chat, and actually what I'll do is I'll cut and paste it from my last one just so it's exactly the same. Oops. It will now, hopefully, the demo is always the proof in the pudding. Hopefully it should come back and actually give me a scale of, this is a 2 out of 10 idea, an 8 out of 10 idea. So, that's one thing I found is by changing those preferences, you get a much better tailored answer, and you can absolutely tailor them to how you work, which is the whole thing I'm trying to do here. So now you can absolutely see the format, the way this has come back is very different to the way that the first one did.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a shorter answer. And like I say, it'll actually go through and actually ask me questions and drill down. So you can see just by changing those one preferences, you can tailor the way that Claude works. There's no out of the box answer. And so then it'll actually, so like the other chat never went into this sort of detail. So I can do what sort of tickets. And I want to do it because it's going to be cost reduction. And then it actually then gives me a more refined answer. So hopefully that shows you one benefit of doing it that way. Now, the next level on top of that in terms of these settings is under the bottom here, there's memory. Now, for that demonstration, I specifically had memory turned off, but you can actually have memory turned on. Now, I have memory turned on normally. And the thing I like about memory is, as when you do the second one, days generate memory from chats, as you're working through stuff and there are specific things that you want Claude to remember, you can actually say, add this to your memory, please.
Yeah.
And so what happens is then the next time that you come across a similar sort of answer, it then goes, oh, hang on, I'm going to apply this context into that answer. So you just get a more, you end up almost turning Claude into like your mate at the pub. Like he remembers those high level things. Yeah. And then can actually answer you with better. Now, what you can also do is you can actually personalize these memories that they've got going on there. You can see I've got lots of memories in here because I use Bolt for a lot of stuff. But, I can go in there and look, Beeves is in here because obviously I've done a bunch of stuff with Beeves. My wife's in here, etc. So by turning that on and then actually particularly this second one, you certainly get a much better answer out of what you want. So ironically, now I've got my memory turned on. If I then go back to new and then put that same answer in, or same question in, you will see that this will now be tailored to my specific, hopefully it doesn't bring anything confidential here. It'll actually bring up everything specific about my business and how I run.
I use it to write my posts on Tim Beavers 404 reviews. So like I just say write it like my style and it just does it for me. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you can certainly tailor that sort of stuff. And once again, I know Tim, like he actually does a lot of that stuff on his phone. So while he's walking around, he can make his notes about how he wants that post done. And once again, it doesn't matter if he does it on his phone or his laptop, he ends up with exactly the same answer. So does it make sense to everybody? Anyone got any questions? So there you go. Look, so it knows that I'm a solo person. So like that question doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So you can see how by just changing those two things, I've got 3 completely different answers. Any questions so far? Am I running too fast? Everyone happy with it?
No.
All good? All right. The next thing about chats is chats only have a certain context window, and so you will find that if you have a particularly long thread that you want to talk about, you'll actually get to the end where it goes, I'm sorry, I'm out of tokens, and basically it locks itself off, and you can't enter any correspondence into, you can't do anything with that chat. The other thing about chat is it only has a certain memory for that chat. So there is a function within the chat, usually there's this projects. Now under projects, and you'll see I do this a lot for ongoing big tasks. I even did one for the prep for tonight. So I had 3 or 4 chats that I wanted to generate the content and the information for this. But because I wanted the second chat to know what was going on with the first chat, I then actually created all into a project. The other thing I find really handy to do, particularly if it's like a long, complicated thing and you feel like you're getting close to the end of the context window, is I actually get the chat to write a handover document, and I'll actually jump into here and show what's going on. So in here, I had one big long chat, and then I started a second one, and so I had the chat generating a document which I've got off to the right, you can't see, which is basically all my notes and what I want to say today. But I got to the end of that one and went, oh, hang on, I need to start a second chat. How do I get the second chat to make sure it knows everything that happened in the first chat? So at the end of this first chat, I'll just scroll down quickly so you don't miss everything in it. Basically what I did was, please write a comprehensive handover MD file, which is a markdown document. It's basically just a straight text file that I can load into the project files as context for the next Claude session. So basically I had one chat. I basically got to summarize the entire conversation into one small document. And then when I go into the project and start the next one, you'll see that that handover document is actually saved in here. And so then the next session of chat actually can then read that handover document. And so then effectively, within reason, you start from where you left off. So you don't actually lose any of that context or history or conversation. You just end up with this like an ongoing conversation. So one thing I always like doing is getting Claude to ask me questions before proceeding. So you can see here, I've said, there's a project file along with the handover document. Please review them, ask me any questions before testing. And so then like it's gone through and actually gone, right, I've read your documents, I don't understand this. And then we continue to chat about a bunch of stuff, and it turns out I was wrong. And so you can see that we went through and started the second chat in terms of preparation for tonight. So where this is handy, and like both Harper and hopefully Bruce can get some value out of this one, is I'm going to start a new project.
Yep. And
I'm going to call it machinery demo.
Yep.
It's just a demo for thieves AI course. So create a project, and then up in here, so what I'll do just off screen, you won't be able to see it, is I've got a bunch of manuals from different farm equipment. So I've got like a tractor, I've got a rod and lawnmower, I've got a side-by-side, and I've got a chainsaw. All I'm showing is that it's a bunch of common material. So Harper, you could, if you're studying for something, you can actually upload all your different documents. Bruce, what I'm about to show you is you can upload all the manuals for all your equipment, and then you can ask it a question, and it can review all those PDFs concurrently and then go, here's your answer. Now, the beauty of doing it this way is I can actually load all of these into one chat, but then when I get to the end of the chat, what happens is all these files burn up the context window of your chat. So you end up having one chat, and most of it's all burnt just loading the PDFs into it. Doing it this way, every chat has full context window, but it's actually got these 4 PDF. Now you can see I've loaded whatever that is, 35 meg of manuals in there, and I've only used 14% of the context window for this specific project. So what it means, you could actually put quite a few PDFs in here. And the other benefit of this is you can actually add specific instructions in here. So I'm going to do that here is please keep answers concise and only from project files. Do not do any external research or use your memory. So something like that. So basically, I can't really type today. So hit save instructions. So what I want to do here is I want to go, I'm always really nice. I always talk to Claude like it's a person. Can you please give me a list of the oils required to maintain the 4 pieces of equipment? And so what it'll do now is it'll actually run through, look at those 4 PDFs, and hopefully it won't take too long. It'll actually go through and generate like a maintenance list for you. So Bruce, once again, you can have all your farm equipment manuals thrown in here. Now, once again, the beauty of doing this as opposed to Claude Code is when you are elbows deep in grease trying to fix this thing and you go, hang on, does the engine in my tractor use 10W50 or does it use a 20W50? You can just literally push the talk button on your phone and it will find it for you. So once again, it's breaking it all out for me. You can then list it all together and we can compile it and it's got all the information for you. So once again, Harper, maybe with some of your study, if you've got all your different materials, and it doesn't need to be PDFs, it can be Word documents, it can be anything that loads in effectively. It will then review it and we can, you can actually, there is actually a skill in here called learning. So you can actually get it to teach you specific things, or you can get it to ask questions, etc. So anyway, there you go. So that was projects. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm probably racing through this. Ironically, so I'll just quickly show this. I did actually do like a run sheet, and I'm way in front of where I'm supposed to be. So either I'm clearly far too nervous, and I'll run through this whole thing too quick. So anyway, any questions?
No, that's pretty good to be able to do that, though, isn't it? So this is on, I know I've asked this before, this is on Claude Chat so far.
Correct. Everything I'll show you tonight is on Claude Chat. I'll let Tim keep the Claude code to himself. As I said, this is how I certainly use a lot of these things for my business day-to-day stuff.
Yep.
The only thing I'd add would be those system prompts, you can definitely change them. So don't think you need to do them one way, same way all the time. You can sort of adapt them to your situation. But be careful when you put them on if they're specific and then you just start using it generally, because obviously they'll affect your answers. But I think those projects are a really good place for students, because if you had, say, I don't know, your maths textbook, and that can actually read images as well. So don't be afraid to put images in there and text and everything. And yeah, then you can just go off and build yourself. You've got your own chatbot to your own content, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. All right. The next thing I was going to show you is connectors. Now, connectors are effectively a way to hook your chat into external data sources. So whether that be like you can see on the right, I've already got my calendar up. So you can hook it into your Google Calendar, you can hook it into Gmail, you can hook it into Xero. So I'll actually show you, I'll actually hook it into my invoicing system. It's a demo company, so none of it's confidential. And then what we can do is then we can actually ask it to say, give me a list of all the debtors that owe me money. And then you can go, all right, please send a follow-up email to pick the top one. And it'll actually go and grab the information from Xero, grab the contact information out of Xero, and then write a draft in my Gmail. And if I want, I can actually let Claude send it without checking it, or I can just get him to write a draft, and then we can review it in the draft sections and then push send. So you can then start scheduling those things. So like every Monday morning, it'll tell you, hey, these are the list of the 6 people that owe you money, and you can actually then start putting them in loops, and then Claude can start doing all those things for you. So it's pretty powerful. I'll also show you another one where you can hook it into Spotify, and so you can go, hey, look, make me a list of whatever, and it'll actually make you a music list for you. So just to show you that it's not just all work, you can actually, if it's in the connected list, knock yourself out. It was actually quite powerful in terms of what it can do. So in terms of connecting to it, I'll do this in real time. So I've actually had to disconnect all this for this demonstration. So I'll have to reconnect them. So in here, the Gmail ones. There is a deal between Anthropic and Google, which is why they do push a lot of the Google products. So you can actually hit connect in here, and hit connect. And so this is actually loading a second browser off to the side, which I'll share until I put my password in. So basically, it brings up your normal login box. It actually knows me, so yep. So I go like that, and then I'll just pull this off the side so no one sees my passwords. I do that, and then do that. So all that happens, it sends through a link and saying, hey, here's a secure link. Just please click on it. It's pretty self-explanatory. And so then it should come up with a box saying, you're all connected. Yep. Sorry, I'm just putting my password off the side. Right, so it does it. It comes up, and then you hit the open desktop app. So here, if I now go back, so this is riveting, I'm sure. So the other one I'll do is I'll just quickly throw in the calendar one. Now, because I've already done this once, it will actually connect really quick because it's actually the same. It's the same password in the background, so it does actually connect much quicker for you. That one. Hit continue.
Pretty interesting, Randall, that you've been able to open a new business doing this sort of thing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, so ideally I'd like to show you the really cool stuff I can do. There's a lot of setup and it is not very interesting to watch on a demo. But at the moment, like I'm implementing AI voice agents that will then answer the phone for the tradies and then use this part that I'm showing you now, where the AI voice agent will actually talk to the Google Calendar and go, hey, look, I've got an appointment at 3 o'clock. And then we'll actually take the details from the customer, fill out the Google request, can see it into like if they're running something like ServiceMate or one of those other tradie-based softwares. And then from there, they can then use AI for a whole bunch of automations and like instant quoting and things like that. So yeah, it's been really cool. It's been a really big learning curve. But yeah, I would never have been able to do this a couple months ago. So in terms of the other connectors, like you can search for whatever you want in here.
Are you getting any much pickup on it, or are you still in your sort of early stages?
No, so I'm not too bad actually. Like I'm busy, that's for sure. Yeah, it's just difficult juggling. So it's difficult juggling like customers for my actual day-to-day engineering business, and then also juggling customers that want AI stuff. So anyway, I can see my engineering stuff is going to slow down, and then hopefully my AI can replace it. Sorry, I didn't want to just have these connectors already hooked up, and then everyone goes, and I just go, oh yeah, so you just connect it and it's done. I kind of wanted to show that it does actually take a little bit to connect these in, but I'm sorry, it's a little bit of static here.
Hey, Randall,
So
when you've
once again,
spoken to customers, Randall,
Yep.
when you've spoken to customers, what's their response like? Are they excited about it, or they don't know, or like, how do you navigate that process of going from I can do these things?
Look, the one that seems to be the closer for me is I actually have one set up for my own company, and I go, just call my own landline number and make a booking. And so it effectively, the proof's in the pudding. You can have a live demonstration up and running. So when I actually go and see each customer, I actually sit there and tailor the answer or the intro for each one of those customers. So my current one is set up for a bathroom renovation company. And so the meeting just happened the other day. I sat down across from him. He's like, so what can you do? And I'm like, well, look, I've already set this up as a demonstration for you. Let's go and, call a number, make a booking, see if you can get it to yourself. And then I actually had the calendar and service mate all on my phone in front of him, and as he's talking and booking the appointment at 3 o'clock, it's appearing instantly in my calendar. It's automatically created a job card in service mate, and basically you can see like the little gears go, oh wow, like this means I don't have to answer the phone 30 times a day. I can just have someone answer the phones, make all those bookings for me, and at the end of the day, it collates who he needs to call back, who he wants to talk to, any pressing issues, and then it just saves so much time for him, and effectively he becomes more productive because he's less time on the phone during the day and can actually get those jobs done. So,
does it sound automated though, or do people get the nits, or does it sound sort of?
Bruce, do you want to know something funny? I've built one as well. I've been using Grok's technology. It's actually better than talking to a human because it keeps asking you questions till it gets what it needs. But it doesn't my name's Timothy, and it just writes that down. It doesn't go, how do you spell it? Dealing with humans is really annoying sometimes on the phone, whereas I've found it to be really clean.
Really quick and clean. Yep.
Yeah, so I don't use the Grok one. So it's hosted in Sydney to do.
Just broke up, Randall.
I find it the latency is really good. It doesn't seem to have any delay, and it's not like calling the bank. It's not like calling the bank going press 1 for this, press 2.
Yeah.
For this, Did you say? In terms of those words, and then comes up with an answer, converts it back to words, and then you can hear it. The Grok one actually shortens that process up, and so it's actually converting it to Gmail and my calendar. So I've got my calendar on the right here. I don't know why that one's clicking because that's a pretty cool one. Just hope.
Another really, really good one is the Notion, because you can kind of build your own brain with that and connect to that, and you can reference it and talk to databases.
I'll give one more crack. I'll just skip on past.
Think you need Starlink, Randall?
$80 a month. You'd be amazed, isn't it, when you think of all those Starlink things driving around and people paying that sort of money. Must be a huge amount of income.
We've apparently got 25 million customers now.
Really? I mean, there's a huge amount of investment too. But yeah.
Apparently the satellites only cost 11 billion.
Real? Is that all?
Yeah, it wasn't as expensive as it was about a quarter of the NBN cost.
Yeah.
Kind of hilarious.
Isn't there how many satellites is there? Quite a few.
About 10,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of. But look, it's bloody magic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's got that trouble. So we'll just wait. He'll probably come back. He might just.
That's pretty cool what he's doing.
Yeah. Be interesting to ring his landline and listen to it, wouldn't it?
It's pretty crazy easy to set up on the Grok one. I set that up. You just go into, I think it's called Grok Chat or Grok Voice, and you get I can't remember now. Tellius phone number. What's it called? Digital phone services.
Did you, hey Tim, random question, but did you go up in the little desert the other week?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Do the borderline track?
No, we just went to Pine Plains.
Oh yeah, Pine Plain, yeah.
Oh, we came in from Rainbow, I think.
You went north from Rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the track to Murrayville? The road? No.
In the bush.
Yeah.
I'm just looking.
What was the Grok one that you said, Tim?
Grok
Voice.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. This will be a bit of a problem because I've got a subscription with it. Called Telus.
Tell me, Tim, are some of the subscriptions for these platforms gone like crazy dear, expensive?
Not really. Why is that?
I just noticed with Claude, they now want me to pay $50 a month.
I'll pay 100. So
Yeah, okay.
but yeah, they are getting more expensive.
Tim, a little bit more about the notion and creating a brain that you mentioned before.
Yeah, I'll show you. Yeah, so that service to do the phone numbers is called Twilio. I'll take over for a bit just until he comes back. So I'll just show you something. So I will share my screen. Yep. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So if I go into Claude, and in here I have a connector Notion in here. So this is what he was talking about. These are the connectors.
Yep.
So I've got that Notion one turned on. And then my website is actually on Notion. So this here page is here. So this is my website. You know, this is where I put my stuff.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is if you're a student, you can make this page accessible to Claude. So I could say on my RSB, on my, what did it say? On my Viva Enterprises / Ask Beeves page, can you please read it on Notion and write me a succinct summary of how I can be more persuasive? Okay. So if I go boom, that should now, see how it's thinking of accessing the Notion content. It's now searching that content. And then it will give me an answer. Now, why that's really powerful is if you have documentation, like if you're a student, you could put all your data in Notion. So I'll show you what Notion would look like. Let's create a new private page. So here, I want to study, I don't know, photosynthesis. And then here, I could upload files. So I could grab a file or a link to a folder. I could just put content in there. I could also put videos. I could also put potentially databases, the table view, and then I could put a spreadsheet in there. So hello world, etc. And then so you could kind of write all your notes for your semester, but you might do this at work as well. Like you might put your policies and procedures, or you know what you do for a living or your job, and just put it all in these notes. And then there you go. So it's read the persuasion chapter. So it's talking about the Cialdini stuff, the delivery layer, blah, blah, blah. So you've essentially now connected Claude through to that technology. And I assume what Randall's talking about is if you connected to Google Drive, you can write files to Google Drive. You can build a present. So on that Canva one, let's have a look at that. Can you?
Sorry,
you back?
Sorry, I don't. How far? What happened? When did I drop out?
Your internet died. Yeah.
How far do we get?
I think you were just starting to connect to your calendar.
Mm.
Oh wow! All right. I was clearly just in my little world chatting away, and then didn't realize it was so bad. You want? I want.
I'll send you a referral for Starlink, Randall.
Pick mine. Pick mine.
There's a very good chance I hit the wrong button. And anyway, let me just delete this. So
it's been breaking up a lot. It's like internet latency.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So in terms of my connectors, you can Gmail, the calendar, my Spotify, my Xero one. So stop me if I'm going over ground that I've already done. But I can go, hey,
That's what
Claude.
you're up to. You're up to the Xero one. That was the one you're up to.
Okay. Can you please tell me which companies owe money in Xero? And so now what it's doing is it's going into Xero, grabbing the information in each of Xero and punching back a answer, which should be a nice little collated table of these are the companies that owe me money.
So it's just gone through all your Xero files.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so from there, I can then go, oh, there you go. That's the thing I was waiting for. So it comes up with a nice little table. So it actually pulls it straight out of Xero for you. And then from there, I can then go, would you please write a draft follow-up email to DIISR for all monies outstanding as a demonstration. All right, so what should happen now is it goes back to Xero, finds that client, DISSR, finds all the money that DISSR owes, and then pulls that information back, but then connects to my Gmail and actually writes the email and goes, hey, probably didn't prompt that very well.
There you go. So is Microsoft screwed?
Yep.
You reckon it's going to be overtaken?
Well, I mean, Gmail's always had a very open philosophy to connectors and stuff, and Microsoft's always not. You got to use our stuff.
Yep.
So
Yeah. If prompted correctly, it should have actually pulled that information straight in. Doesn't fight me, it'll then just appear over here on the right-hand side. So it's found the tool, it's found my Gmail account. Let's go with a firm one. And my connector. And then if I go refresh, here it is. Bang, there's my email already done. It's addressed, so it's pulled that email out of Xero data and then written up a nice little email. Thank you very much. So I can actually make that send that. So I've just got it set at the moment so the Claude can do drafts only but not send. But recently they've changed the permissions so that I could actually just get Claude to send emails autonomously and I don't actually ever review them. So that's one thing.
With your customers, you'd want to keep an eye on it though, wouldn't you? Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, there's always still a human in the loop.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'd like to show is that.
So Randall, could you ask it something like, can you check all the invoices that are 30 days overdue and send a reminder of the payment terms, or I guess that would just, and would it spin up 10 emails straight away?
Let's try it. Just check out the invoices. Something like that. What I don't know with that dummy data is if there's any more than 30 days overdue. Which could be the broken link.
Problem.
Could it write new records to Xero? Like you do it, say, create me 10 records that are 30 days overdue that have random content. Flick it back to Xero. That might work as well.
Oh, there's a few there.
No. Oh, yeah. It's only one company though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you can see once again back in my draft, it's done. So, like, can certainly at the moment, Tim, the Xero connector is read only. There, you can't get Claude to do anything in Xero, but you can actually pull that data out and do stuff with it. The other thing you can do is you can pull that data out, you can get Claude to do some financial modeling on it, and then you can get it to save it off onto like a Google Sheet on your Google Drive and stuff like that. So you can certainly then link multiple connectors together, and Claude effectively just becomes the traffic cop in the middle, telling traffic which way to go. So the other thing you can do is, got my calendar here, so I can say, hey Claude, now I'm only doing this for the demo. Normally, once it's connected once, it remembers that the calendar is connected. But yeah, just for the sake of the demo, I just have to keep reminding it to, hey, by the way, use the connector. So once again, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is you can get Claude to do things on your calendar. And so again, it's a case of you can query your calendar, you can get it to write things on your calendar. What I'm about to show you next is, it's working out what's after 3 p.m. and then hopefully it moves it for me. But what I'll also show you is that I'll actually use voice on my phone so that you can then simulate, once again, you could be driving in the car. There you go, done. So, once again, all those connectors, there's a whole bunch of pretty cool stuff you can do with it. So, and then just for a fun one,
it just moved that one. Connectors. Yeah, I just saw it move.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point, Randall. If you are in the voice app, you can actually just say, hey, I got a meeting at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I can't go. Send the person a note and cancel the meeting. And that's it. Just say that. Correct. And it'll be done.
Yes, that's right.
That is cool. I like that.
Yeah. So once again, you think about for the people that have Apples, Siri can certainly send a text message for you, but Siri can't do these multi-step processes for you while you're driving. So you can certainly start transitioning to using Claude as the thing you lean on while you're driving. You can certainly get it to pull information, change. If you're running late for something, you can get Claude to change a meeting. As you said, send a follow-up email. So once again, you can see here I've confirmed that you can see the Spotify connection. So I can say, can you please generate a 50-song rock using oops, type. Whatever. I'm just shooting from the hip with that one. And so what happens, it'll actually go in, it'll actually generate your playlist for you, and then happy days. You know, you've now got a playlist in Spotify. So like, you know, it's not all just all work. It will actually, yeah. Which, you know, ironically, these are the bands I like. So happy days.
Yeah.
So now, yeah. So if you want my Spotify account, there you go. There you go. Long-haired rock anthems. So if I click on it, should open my Spotify for me. There you go.
Spotify changed their logo.
There's my playlist. If I like it, happy days.
Yep.
I don't know. I've never.
They changed their
so then
logo.
you can just hit plus and it saves over your library over here.
Yep.
Interesting.
Right
there you go.
Yep.
Have you tried connecting it to
so that's connected. Sorry, connecting it to what?
Just another cool connector is the Canva one, because you can ask it
so I don't have
to take a piece of content, write a presentation for you, and it'll just like it'll do the Claude generation, but it'll push it over to Canva. It's a cool one as well.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. So there's a few of them that do things like that. There is actually a way to connect it into Nano Banana as well that I can show later on, so that it will then do your image generation. So that way you're not trying to do image generation using a second party software and then trying to combine it and give it to Claude and say, hey, use this image to do, etc. So Claude then ends up being like the orchestrator and will actually go and get information from certain spots, and then I find that when Claude talks directly to Nano Banana, you end up with a far better image than if you just prompt Nano Banana directly. So I don't know what it does in the background to make a better image, but it certainly, yeah, it comes up with a great answer. And so the other one I just want to kind of touch on just to kind of close this out, I know we're going for time, is skills. So skills are basically like a specific instruction that you can give Claude. Now, skills work across the board. They work in chat, they work in co-work, they work in Claude Code as well. The way I'm showing you now, it'll actually just work for whichever device you want to be on. So under skills, you can go settings and then skills, and then I've already got one. I've actually got the canvas one. That's the canvas one. So I've actually got a few in here. I'm going to delete this one and redo it just to show you how to make it. So what I'm going to do here is make a what people call a humanizer skill. So what it does is it enacts whenever Claude Chat is actually making any sort of content up, and you can give it keywords and say don't use these words, because if you read AI words long enough, you'll see that there are certain words that it uses more than what a human actually would. So you can certainly use this skill to tailor the output as well. And I find that doing this, you end up with a lot more control than just using the overall personal preferences. So if I just go add and then go write a skill instruction. And so this one here is, I'm just going to call it humanizer.
Could you do this, Randall? Like if you write emails that are too terse or, you know, too angry at work, you could do a skill to like make it nicer.
correct. You can actually have like a gently skill, or you could have a like really passive aggressive skill, or you can you can basically tailor this for whatever you want. Like I've got a couple set up for report writing. I've got some set up for reports when I'm doing proposals, because like the way you write your proposals is very different to the way that you would write an email. So these skills effectively tailor the output to suit whatever your destination is. So all I do here is now in the instructions, I'm just going to cut and paste this in here because I had it in there before. And I'll just put it in here so we can all read it. So basically, I'll let everyone read it, but this is the spot where you can actually put in sort of AI-esque words in here so that you hopefully make it sound less AI-like.
Yeah.
So, and if you're finding that when you're doing some sort of email or chat, etc., and you're getting things that you go, oh, that's not how I'd talk, then you can actually then just put it in here and get it to not do that again. So it's really just a case of, you can see the structure. Once again, I'll give this so that people can cut and paste it into theirs. And so done. It's created a skill called Humanizer. And so the beauty of Humanizer is that, the beauty of skills is that skills are automatically invoked. So as long as you have the description correct in here, so the description here is actually more important than what the name is. So you can see here I've got user when writing or editing any prose, website copy, articles, emails, etc. So once again, I could tailor this to go only do it for when writing emails. And so it would then have a very specific style for emails, a very specific style for blog posts, a very specific style for proposals. And so the three of those can be vastly different. There is actually a, I won't go into it tonight because I'm kind of running out of time, but there is actually a way that you can train Claude to generate its own skills. So you can give it 40 of your past emails, or you can give it a bunch of your past proposals, and it'll actually review those and go, oh, this is the way that Randall writes, and it'll then actually write a skill to ensure that every time it writes exactly the same way you write.
Mm.
And so then you end up with like a very consistent output, because you're literally training it on the way that you naturally write. So anyway, you can see here, that's the way you make a skill. And so then the next time I get it to actually write a blog post, etc., it won't use any of those words. Like, I'm going to touch on it. There's the thing with skills is there's also a bunch of them that you can. So I made that skill. You can actually add skills in. So if you go browse, these are actually pre-configured skills by Anthropic. So there's a couple in here. So like the learn one is pretty good. So it actually changes the way it talks back to you when you're asking it questions and drilling down into details, etc. Yeah, so once again, I won't go into all of them, but yeah, by all means, just do as I did, just explore and play with it. The thing that I keep telling people is you can't really break it. Like, it's not something that you can, if you push one button, suddenly the world's going to implode. So the worst that's going to come back is go, I don't work, and you just undo it. So you've got all these skills that you can actually do, but then the way I just did it then is I can write a skill, which is what I just did. You can search the net and you can actually upload skills. So you can actually point it at like a GitHub directory, or you can point it at a website, and it'll actually then look at those repositories and actually create a skill out of that. And then you've also got create with Claude. So that's what I was talking about before, where you can give it examples text and it'll actually then create a skill for you using that way. And probably last thing I want to touch on is plugins. Now, plugins are kind of they're not really used as much as I thought they would be used. Now, plugins are kind of like a combination of skills and connectors bundled together. So once again, you can upload one from a plugin from, and there's also a marketplace where you can actually buy these. So there is actually people making money by creating plugins and then selling them on marketplaces. So, or you can browse through here and you can find ones that are done by Anthropic. So there's some interesting ones in terms of like engineering, or there's like a PDF viewer, which will actually, if you invoke this plugin, it will automatically fill out PDF forms for you. So if you're got on some sort of long contract or document, or you need to fill documents out, you can load that plugin in, upload the blank PDF, Claude will go through and fill out all your information for you and sign it for you. So once again, I'm probably not going to delve into detail because lots of these are very specific. I just want to bring people aware of these are the Anthropic ones, but then there is also partner ones. And if you go through the partner ones, there is a lot. Sort of
It's
most
also
popular.
I was just going to say, Randall, it's also worth knowing that it's worth reviewing those plugins because all of those in Cowork you can actually invoke. So if you said, I want this text, I want you to do a design for me, it'll say, oh, I'm going to look up the skill, and it goes off and finds that and just uses it. So like at that next layer, you can kind of get access to those. But having and understanding what they are is useful because then you can you sort of phrase your words so it'll go and find it for you.
I mean, I think one of these down here is PubMed, I think from memory. Maybe not. There's certainly one, maybe it's a connector. You can actually connect into like PubMed. So if you were doing like specific medical research, now Fable might kick you out if you're doing too much specific, because medical stuff is one of the things that is not, it's inside its guardrails. Yeah, so you can actually connect directly into PubMed, and so then you can actually go and do your own research on medical publications. That was another one I'm mentioning. But yeah, certainly there's, I don't want to demonstrate any of these, but basically just make everybody aware that these tools are available. The vast majority of them are free, so that you can then go through and customize Claude to the way you work and how you interact with Claude. So I mean, there's heaps. Like I can just keep scrolling. So yeah, when you get 5 minutes, just scroll through and see if any of them are of any use to you. I think that's about it. I could probably just show you that, like, booked my Claude. So if I then go, so everyone can still see my calendar I hope on the shared screen. Hey Claude, can you please move all my Tuesday meetings over to Wednesday, please? And it should hopefully go through and grab all of them and just push them straight over. Once again, you can actually create meetings. You can, basically anything you can do straight through the app, you can do using Claude. So this will hopefully move straight over.
So how does software as a service company survive? Because these guys are just going to keep eating at them and eating at them.
Yeah.
Until there's nothing left.
Yeah, that's right. But just refresh. Right, so my phone says it's done. It just probably just needs to propagate through into my calendar. But yeah, anyway, there you go. That's that's how I use Claude a lot while I'm in my business. I use particularly the Xero connector a fair bit. I've got some other ones that I won't show due to IP, but I can connect Claude into. I've actually written custom connections, so it connect into all my bespoke engineering software. So now, there you go. You can see it's moving over. So I've got connectors so that I can actually on the road while I'm talking to people, I can actually get Claude to do things. In my engineering wise with my 3D modeling, etc. So the world's your oyster. Just get in there and play with it.
It's an interesting point, Randall, that understanding it's like another layer. Like it's like we learned prompt engineering, we learned agents, we learned vibe coding. Now you've sort of got this concept of MCP connectors, skills, plugins, but you've got to be aware they're there. But if you know they're there and you've actually got agentic control of them, then you can orchestrate things. And so the technology stack you use moving forward is going to be really important, because if you're using a technology stack that's not connected to these tools and there's others that are, some of that are open, the orchestration layer is going to get really, really powerful.
Correct. I mean, hypothetically, at the moment, a structural engineer can send me a model and I can get that. So I can get Claude chat by talking to it. I can go, hey, here's the model. Can you please overlay that on top of my design model and make sure that all the still members are the same still members? And so then it'll actually go through and effectively audit my engineering model to ensure that it complies with what the structural engineer's design model is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a job that used to take me hours, and it does it just by me talking to it.
Yeah. Extremely powerful.
I've got mine. Do you want me to just show the Canva thing?
Yeah. If you get yours hooked up.
Mine's connected. I took over for 5 minutes when you disappeared. So I'll just show you this for a minute. So I had a page and I had this, and then I think it was in Canva. Can you write me a presentation in Canva? So just for your context, Randall, what I did is I went to my Notion page, which is connected, and then I said, write me a summary of how to be more persuasive, which then wrote some content. And now can you write me a presentation with that content in Canva using the design skill? Let's see if that works.
And so the preface to that is that you've got a Canva account.
Yeah, but I've already connected it. So, yeah. Okay, so that's what it's going to do. You can set educational, short, digital. So it's actually written the prompt for me.
Hey, Tim, Claude's got its own design function as well, right? Like, how would you compare it to, say, using Canva and this tool?
Look, I think that the design would be way more powerful. So I normally just do it in design and then download it into PowerPoint and then just dump that into Canva and then I edit as I want. But I just wanted to see if this, like, just have a look at, because it was just an extension of.
That's pretty cool.
All candidate decks are ready. Tell me which one you want and I'll convert it. So there's one that looks like that, one that looks like that. Maybe that one. I don't think this is very good. Pretty crap, actually.
Well, I mean, in terms of just the sheer blatant plug for 2 seconds, I just do. So here's my website that I designed using Claude. And I have got Xero coding, graphic design background. And Claude actually went through, asked for all these images, went to Nano Banana made all the images, brought them back, and then like even all the animation in the background, including the Kraken over on the side, it did the whole lot. Like it's pretty much what you see is I haven't edited it. I've just got Claude to write it for me.
Hey,
and so
Randall.
The power of yep.
The other day I built an app with some maps in it. And I actually gave it to Fable, and Fable went actually into my 3D modeling tool, took photos of everything at good aspects, and then built features showing you how those features work, aligned to the actual code of the application. So think of like, you've got an application that does something, and it can go and understand what it does and then find imagery that's appropriate to show those features and then completely graphically designs it. It actually went and it took over the browser and went into the app and like got pictures to then generate that front end. It's absolutely insane.
Mm. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you for listening. Hopefully that was educational.
That was really, really good, Randall. Thank you for
Thanks,
that.
Randall.
Thank you, Randall.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randall.
Thank you.
That was really cool. I think, Randall, that yeah, it's just like another skill stack that you got to sort of think about, but it just gives you more control, more power, and yeah, and it is interesting how like they always talk about, when you talk about AI, everyone talks about the model, you know, how good's the model in the benchmarks. But I think increasingly important, it's the harness and the cost of the tokens. Because if you've got, and it's also the speed as well. So you've got the speed, you've got how many iterations it requires to do something, how fewer errors it's going to make along the way, and the harness that it sits in to sort of control all that. And so I think that's where the war is going to be played out for the next little while.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and like I've seen you use Grok before, and Grok seems infinitely faster and less token heavy than what Claude is. I just haven't played personally enough with Claude with Grok enough to like get all my connectors working again. And I mean, there's some other stuff that I get it to do, but they just make terrible demonstrations because it's just a bunch of numbers on the screen. But effectively, like it goes through and connects into my AI voice agent. It customizes the way it answers the phone. It then connects into like my innate workflows so that it does all webhooks and does all the workflows through N8N so that if it receives an email, it does this. If it receives a text message, it does this. It can then, if it gets a email, it'll then send out a telegram. So all those sort of automations in the background, Claude has set up for me on N8N. Incredibly powerful. It's amazing what the skills or the tools that you can give people to interact with their customers. But yeah, it just makes a terrible demonstration because all you're doing is looking at code on a page.
So just so people know, N8N is hosted, but it's also an open source product that allows you to configure workflows to hundreds of different applications to do automations. But recently what they've done is, I tried that very early on in the AI cycle, and I found it very frustrating because you've sort of got to configure these little code snippets and it's very fiddly. But they've now got MCP connectors to all the components. So you can kind of say, hey, I want to build something that takes an email and looks at this document set and then writes me something and then calls the customer and tells them about it, or something along those lines. So you can build those workflows out.
Yep. So like, for example, I've got one where the client can walk around a job site with a video and basically talk through the job. I want to install tiles here. I want to put a vanity here. It's going to be a 900 mirror here. There's 20 square meters of tiling going in here. There's going to be a floor drain. There's a toilet going in here. And then you upload that video via Telegram. The connector then goes, I think I've got a video. It then puts it into a AI, which basically converts it from a video into text. And then from that text, it then pulls out all the pertinent information. It then links to Xero and links to ServiceMate with the job sheet and goes, all right, a toilet is $600 installed and tiles are $99 a square meter installed and a 900 mirror is $400 to buy and $200 installed and all those sorts of things. And then pulls information out. It's got cross-references it against the job sheet, and then effectively the next connector then connects it to Xero. It pulls information off the job card from ServiceMate, creates a new customer in Xero, and pulls all the information across and creates a quote. And so effectively my client can walk around the job site talking to their client and going, is this what you want, etc. Talk it through. You can upload the video, 5-minute chit chat with the customer, and then it goes through, processes it all, and then they've effectively got a plus or minus 5% quote before he walks out the door.
God, really? Jeez.
So that particular bathroom renovator guy, he doesn't even need to do like a Friday. They used to put aside like 4 hours on a Friday to go through all these quotes. And so people are getting frustrated because he'd go see them and then it would be like the Monday until they got a quote back from him. And now he's within reason, unless there's something really crazy that he doesn't have a standard job price for, he can give them instantaneous quotes.
Where does the cost come from?
That's just one of
Does it come out of his archives? Where does the cost come from, Randall?
Good question. So you can what I've done with his ServiceMate is the ServiceMate then links to all his suppliers. So people like Reese and those sorts of guys who supply plumbing parts actually have like an online pricing catalog. So in the background, I've linked ServiceMate to those catalogs. So as soon as Reese update their pricing, it's updated in his ServiceMate. His ServiceMate then gives that pricing into Xero. So a lot of the pricing is live. So as soon as Reese changes their prices, his quotes change. In terms of the number of hours, he's got standard rates for a lot of these things. And so it just, over the collection of time with his ServiceMate, which is, like I said, it's a trade-specific piece of software that people use for job cards, and they take photos and they can upload it to the ServiceMate, and they can do warranty claims off it, and a lot of tradesmen use it to manage all their jobs. And so, we're using the API off ServiceMate to then sort of pivot and put data into it and pull data out of it and then into Xero.
Hey, Randall, have you thought about talking to a company like ServiceMate? And like, because if you set this all up in a beautiful showcase, like it would make sense for them to innovate in this space as well.
Yeah,
So
so there are already a bunch of people that are registered ServiceMate developers, and so there's other companies that do what I'm doing. So ServiceMate is certainly progressively making their offering bigger. So they're just now going into AI voice agents. So that element and that front end hook is that window of opportunity is disappearing, so that people with ServiceMate won't need me to set up an AI voice agent. They can do it within ServiceMate. So I can see within sort of 2 to 3 years, ServiceMate are just going to evolve and take all these processes and put it on board in terms of their software anyway. So it just means that I've got a window of opportunity to sell, and then I just need to evolve with the times and find a new market.
Mm.
or you could just build an alternative to ServiceMate with vibe coding and then just sell it for a fraction of the cost.
Funny you mentioned that. I actually went and had a look at it, and we started looking at how much work was involved in that, and it wasn't really economically viable for me to do it, particularly since ServiceMate has like a very strong customer base that are very loyal, and ServiceMate's relatively cheap. Like it's $50 a month for these guys. So like there's no real impetus to change, because I'm not going to beat them on price, and unless I start hosting like terabytes of data, like what are we going to do? We can't export all their history out of ServiceMate and into whatever Randall's going to offer. So I kind of looked at it and then put a strike through it, because I don't know, I'm not going to beat one of these big multinationals.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome, Randall. I actually learned some stuff. That's cool.
Thanks, Randall.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Randall.
Nice.
That's terrific.
Awesome.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Ciao for now.
Ciao.
See ya. Thank you.